Welcome to The Power of the P, the podcast designed to help you become empowered in your truth, free of fear. I'm E.L. Brooks, your host, here to bring you expert advice and effective tools based on neuroscience to help you deal with all the stressors in life, relationships, and work. I'm here to keep you off that struggle bus through the power of the P. Are you ready? Then let's go. Welcome to The Power of the P, episode number 9. Technically, this is our second season if you were to follow standard podcast format. So we thank you for tuning in. If you're not familiar with the show's format, it is like a Dear John life advice show, except for I'm EL, so it's Dear EL, where followers and subscribers send in questions of things that they're dealing and struggling with, and I'll pick one of those questions and give some insight and provide some effective tools that are mostly backed in neuroscience. And I'll offer one key takeaway at the end to log into your memory to help you become more resilient and emotionally stable. So today I'm virtually sharing an extended coaching session that I recently had with one of my clients. So I do a mixture of mindset principles to guide behavior for higher performance and embodiment exercises to bring harmony and clarity within the body so that the mind and body can connect. You see, we typically can comprehend concepts relatively faster then we can execute on them. So we can learn and know better, but we still have a hard time doing better, implementing the knowledge that we're learning. That's the score. You have to get your unconscious mind body in a place of neutrality so it can learn to accept the new information that it's receiving, so it can harmonize and integrate by letting false and negative beliefs pass through. So all that to say is that it takes time for your body to feel differently to be able to execute on the knowledge that you know is now better for you. So the body feels different emotions, and because it may have a different emotion than your logical brain or your logical self, it creates things that fall outside of your comfort zone. So this episode is around 6 guiding principles for you not to allow control over your life. So there's no email to read today. We're just going to jump right into the knowledge. So many people live life at the mercy of other people, at the mercy of their circumstances. So they're not living in the present because the past is always in your mind, right? It's an illusion. It's in your memories, but those memories are usually not properly edited, which makes them hold people back from reaching their full potential. You need to realize that your future is always in your hands. So if you want to live an incredible life and reach your full potential, don't be controlled by these 6 things. Number 1 is don't be controlled by your past, right? Your past pain informs future fears. So what tends to happen at a subconscious level is we get hurt and we get scarred. We don't know how to properly process that pain. So we push it down and we keep it alive in our bodies. And then our bodies start to control and dictate our actions. So we perpetuate the very thing that we're trying to avoid. We want connection and unconditional love, but our unprocessed pain has manifested into several insecurities, right? That is sabotaging the very thing that we desire. We do this because at the subconscious level, we're actually living in the past, which means that we're not being present. So you have to learn to let go. You have to learn to forgive yourself and whoever you blame for your pain, because pain has purpose, and the scars are merely there as reminders of what not to do the next time. In every scenario that causes you pain, you should apply what is known as the 3W and 3W technique as an effective way to learn and grow. It's simply reflecting on what went well, that's the first 3 W's, and what went wrong, that's the second 3 W's. And when you're able to answer both questions thoroughly, you should be able to learn and then move on. And I like to tell people, don't let the darkness of the past cast a shadow over your bright future. Your past doesn't exist anymore, right? So reliving it only brings life to the illusion, which keeps you in a gear of park, neutral, or worse, reverse. And that's not the direction you want to be headed. And the more that you keep looking back, the more times you're going to stumble in life. We're propelled by stories and we're halted by stories. So make sure you're checking your narrative, right? Ask yourself, are you the hero Shiro, or do you want to keep playing the victim? Remember, your past carries no weight in the here and now. So be present and enjoy what's to come. And again, your past is only there to reflect on what went well and what went wrong so that you can minimize your future what went wrongs and maximize
your future what went wells. And so, in order to do that, you need to accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be. Number two is don't allow other people's opinions and judgments to control the direction of your life, right? So we need to fit in and we need to feel wanted. And that can cause you to travel down what I call conformity boulevard, right? That's the road that everyone travels that has no voice, no direction. It's literally get in line and become sheep. And it's easy to do. And we've all been guilty of it at some point in our lives, right? It's partly a survival strategy, but it's also innate because we're social species and we need and we crave social connections. But we confuse that connection with fitting in, which requires you to change and adjust parts of your personality and sometimes your soul. That's not what you want, right? No, what you really want is to belong. And to belong is to be accepted for who you are, which requires no change at all, right? It's total acceptance. Our number one fear is the fear of rejection. And I call it the think what people will say. And the last fear is how they would judge you if you go against the status quo. So I was told this line a few years ago. And when I started to live by it, it changed everything for me, right? So it says that total freedom is achieved the moment you're able to stop caring what people think and thinking that they care. Doesn't mean that you have to have an FU attitude towards the world. It just means that you're committed to doing you and being you no matter what that looks like. And as long as it feels good to you and as long as you're doing it for you, that's all that matters. So, number three is don't let your own limiting and false beliefs control your life. Now, the tricky part with this rule is that most of our limiting and false beliefs reside at the subconscious level. So, most of us are unaware of them, right? These are beliefs that have been conditioned in you from a young age and throughout your lifetime by listening to those around you who more than likely operate out of the energy of fear and doubt. So you need to know that all doubt is false and all doubt is limiting, right? It causes you to negotiate with yourself. Now, one of the things that I love that was non negotiable, right? It was designed to push him to new limits so that he could become limitless. That's what made him one of the greatest of all times. So, eradicating our limiting false beliefs to me is the key to life. Those who are able to become aware of those false beliefs that limit them and then work through those false beliefs and eventually conquer them separate themselves from the pack. It's game changing because it's a game changer. And when you commit to making that change, now you're writing personal contracts with yourself. And more importantly, you're keeping them because you no longer operate out of fear and doubt. And remember this, there's nothing that you can't do, there's nothing that you can't have or become. And if you don't believe that, then find out why. Because it simply means somewhere along your journey, someone planted a fear doubt bomb that you from limited to unlimited, your opportunities and possibilities become unlimited. Miracles happen every day to those who simply believe anything is possible. So your new motto should be, why not me? Right? It's simply aligning with your shadow self where your inner demons reside, right? It's the enemy within, our own internal negative dialogue, which is why they say when there is no enemy within, the enemies outside can do no harm. You become worthy in a world where the majority of people feel not good enough, right? And not worthy. And then you rise above that, and that is freeing. Number four is relationships. And this is another tricky one, right? Because we're a social species, and there's no greater force in this world than the energy and the field of love, right? It's innate. We yearn for love and connection. But in my journey of nearly 6 decades, can't believe I'm saying that. I don't look 6 decades old, do I? Right? Um, all right, off topic. I digressed. But in my 6 decades, nearly 6 decades, I'm not 60 years old yet. I found that we need love and connection to ourselves, to our faith, to our source creator before we can effectively connect with others. We must become complete within, which allows us to then give and receive love with no expectations, and more importantly, without any insecurities blocking our ability to be transparent and vulnerable. Most people are looking for a relationship or someone to complete them. So if you're always needing someone to make you feel better and to make you feel happy, then you're always one moment away from a breakdown and a setback. Your emotions are affected if that relationship isn't going well, or worse, your reality and your faith is shattered if that relationship ends. That's because you're placing your faith in the wrong zip code. It needs to be placed within you, your higher representation, right? And this helps you avoid trauma bonds and allows you to find true love because you attract what you put out there. If you're putting out desperation and a need for validation, not love, then that's what you're going to find, right? And the biggest lessons that I've learned about intimate relationships is that we don't fall in love. We actually fall in familiarity. And we don't have a type. We actually have patterns. So we need to learn our pattern and we need to become aware of the familiar insecure attachment style that we need to heal to move out of trauma bonds and into authentic love. You have to get to a point and develop a mindset that doesn't need to settle, right? You align with the one who can enhance your life because you're already enough, you're already fulfilled, and you know what you want, and you're already happy. So the person's only job is not to take that away from you, right? And when you find that, you're winning. And that will enhance your life because it's not a need, it's a blessing, and it's a reflection of like energy. I say like energy because that person is also fulfilled, right? And is also enough and is also happy with themselves. So both of you are not afraid to be alone, which allows you to appreciate the beauty in finding someone who has realistic expectations of what loving connection in a partnership really looks like. Number 5 is money, 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 money. Money has the biggest influence over our mindset. And here's the thing, money is not evil. Money is not even the root of all evil. Money solves a lot of problems, mostly money problems, but money can make a big difference, right? It can help millions of people provide relief, provide aid, support, security. Money, again, is not the issue, and abundance is not the issue either. It's really your spiritual and moral compass. Money controls just about everyone on the planet to some degree, right? It has a perceived value that we measure ourselves against. Some make the mistake of inflating or deflating others based on the status of their finances. And I have to tell you that I met some of the poorest minds and hearts of some of the wealthiest individuals. And in reverse, I've also met some of the richest people in terms of loving spirits and souls that were less fortunate drawers of the birth lottery. Your value should never be tied to your finances, nor should you ever tie someone else's value to their abundant or scarce financial position, right? Because things change. I've seen poor people become wealthy and wealthy people become poor. It's not what you have or what you achieve in your benevolence. Don't let money control how you act towards others, right? Towards individuals. Decisions should never be made based solely on how much money is involved. If that's the case, you'll always make the wrong decision, right? Your heart needs to always be part of every single decision. Otherwise, you'll be consumed by the lure and the power of money. It will have you compromise your values, and that can compromise your life. So follow your heart, do good by others, and the money will always come. Number 6 is time. Don't let time control your life, right? Time is one of those things that we complain that we don't have enough of. The top 3 are time, money, and you're completely captured by something that has your full attention, right? You do what we all refer to as lose track of time, right? The hours can pass by, and then you look up and you're like, where did the time go? And just the opposite. When you're sitting in a classroom or sitting in a lecture or a meeting that doesn't have your full attention, when our attention is elsewhere, meaning that our attention wants to go somewhere else than the current experience that we're realizing, we tend to track time and we look at the clock and time seems to move slowly, right? Like at a snail's pace, but it's all an illusion. What I've learned is that when we are present, time is on our side, right? And when we live in the future, the illusion of time starts to come into focus because of the lack of patience, not really being satisfied where we are currently are in life. And this causes us to dive further into the illusion of time where we're now living for whens and ifs, right? When this happens or if that happens, which is really not being present. To be present is a gift that we all should give to ourselves, right? It's a way to break the illusion, to step behind the curtain and realize that all we have today is right here, right now, and what a gift that is. There's no time travel, right? We can't go back to the good old days, right? Some refer to them as the good old days, and that's a perception. It's a mindset. My belief is that my best days are right here and right now, and that I still have yet to experience my best days because I believe that they're all still ahead of me. And that allows me to enjoy my journey, even though I have a North Star that I'm still aiming at. My decades of chasing and pursuing have made me realize that it's never about the destination. It's always been about the journey, but our drive to survive requires us to focus on the future, which is why I choose to believe that my future will continue to be bright. If I believed that my future wasn't bright and that my best days were behind me, what compelling life would I have to look forward to, right? That would probably influence my ability to be present and enjoy right here, right now, because in my mind, I'm choosing to believe that nothing will ever compare to what has already been, and that is time controlling you. It's an illusion. Our misunderstanding of time has a lot of us misusing it, right? So we're not promised tomorrow. All we have is today, this moment, right now. So the question we all should be asking ourselves is, what am I doing today with the time that I have right here, right now? What mindset is needed to be present to enjoy this gift of life each day that it is given to me? We can't control time, but we can control how we spend our time. Do we want to ruminate over an illusion that is no longer real, or do we want to imagine all day long about our future that is also not real and miss out on some of the opportunities and miracles that are happening right now before our very eyes? Again, the statistics show that our scattered focus is more in the future, 42% compared to 28% focus in the present, in the now. Now, I know our souls need to evolve and self-actualize, which moves our consciousness naturally into being curious through the power of our imagination. But you must not let the delusion of ideals, you must not let the delusional ideals of society cloud your perception of time as it relates to your own journey, right? Some of the happiest people I know do things based on their own timelines, right? Based on their own time schedules. Becoming singers at the age of 40, entrepreneurs at the age of 50, and even billionaires at the age of 60. That's because life happens all the time at all ages, because time is constant. So don't let the illusion of time keep you from living in the moment. And so the key takeaway is very simple, it's very short, and then we sacrifice money to recuperate our health. And then we're so anxious about the future that we do not enjoy the present. The result being that we do not live in the present or the future. We live as if we're never going to die, and then we die having never really lived. And that quote gets me every single time. And another one that I think is so insightful is, as much as they're looking for the experience of being alive, and you can feel more alive, making sure that you don't allow your life to be controlled by these 6 guiding principles that we just mentioned. Now you know. One love.
Today's episode was sponsored by Help to Love, a platform to open your mind, achieve mental agility, and integrate into the person that you're meant to be. With a wealth of resources and expert advice at your fingertips, Help to Love makes prioritizing your mental well-being easier than ever. It's a non-judgmental approach to mental wellness to help you design that 10x life you deserve. Sign up today at www.helptolove.com. Join the thousands of users who have already discovered the transformative power. Register for the free webinar that will open your mind and plant seeds for your ultimate breakthrough. If you felt this episode was helpful and insightful, please like, share, and subscribe so that you'll be notified of all of our upcoming content and special announcements. I'm E.O. Brooks, your host. As always, I thank you for your support and especially your time. One love.